Thank you for the warm welcome again, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to reach out to our parent community. We always look forward to different opportunities to be able to engage with and to provide information. This event this evening is yet again another opportunity in which we're going to be able to share some of the things that we have been able to implement as far as changes to our regional learning choices programs that we feel will have a direct, profound, and meaningful positive impact for our racialized community, specifically those of our community members who identify as Black, African, Caribbean, Indigenous, maybe First Nation, Métis, or Inuit. So welcome to one and all as we engage in this opportunity to share some information with you, as well as be able to field any questions that you have at the end of our presentation.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, we're going to begin by sharing with you the communication plan that we've used this year to try to reach out to as many families as possible. We're going to provide an overview of the regional learning choice programs, both elementary and secondary. We'll just show you how to the application process, where to find it online, and how to begin the process of filling out the boxes. And we're going to discuss the opportunities, financial support that are available for families who require them, as well as the change in terms of the self-identification process for students who self-identify as African, Black, Caribbean, First Nations, or Métis. And then we'll finish off with a question and answer time.
So one thing that we want everybody to understand is that in terms of the information, the changes that have come about, as well as the program as a whole, one of the things that we've implemented is a program in to, despite the challenges that we've been faced with COVID, that we reach as many people as possible, both in terms of the students as well as their families. And so we started our communication in terms of reaching out to students in grade 7 and 8 for the secondary regional learning choice programs, as well as students in grade 4 and 5 for the grade 6 regional programs. And it's something important to note that we understand that families are starting to make these decisions and have these conversations, not only in the year preceding when they're making the choice, but in years ahead. And it's for that reason why we started the process of informing families 2 years prior to the actual decisions being made. One thing I'm going to ask if everybody could kindly mute their microphone, so that way everybody's able to hear what is being shared.
Can I just suggest that you help folks, maybe if they're on the phone, to tell them how to do that?
By all means.
Is anyone able to just help people to how to mute the phone?
No problem. So if you take a look on whichever platform you're using, may it be your microphone, may it be a computer, or if you're using your cell phone, you will see a picture of a microphone. If you can kindly tap on that, so that way a line goes through, that is when you know that you will be.
I think for a landline, it's *6.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. As I was saying, so we deliberately and we're intentional in terms of reaching the families, not only in the year grade for those who are in grade 8 or those in grade 5, but the year preceding, because we know again that those conversations, people need to start having those communications and having that information earlier so they can make informed decisions. And we ensure that we got that information out to all of our grade 7 and 8 families, as well as our grade 4 and 5 students, so they can make the decision accordingly. We also made sure that we were able to reach our Black, Indigenous, and racialized and other students. And we did this through, again, the schools directly. We involved our parent involvement committees, school councils. We informed our staff, which consisted of our administrators, teachers, office staff, superintendents, settlement workers, the full gamut of all those with whom students may come in contact with were made aware of this program and the different opportunities that exist therein. And so that way, anybody who would have an opportunity for conversation would be aware and could be able to provide, if not detailed information, at least be able to give an overview and direct them to others who could provide greater support. We informed our board advisory groups, of which we are here tonight, including our Indigenous Education Advisory Council, Rise Together Council, Community Student Advisory, and the Parent Advisory. The trustees, feeder schools, as well as using a variety of print, broadcast, and online through ethnic and traditional English media channels were all part of the communication plan, and they all received that information. One thing to pay that we'd like to highlight in terms of the communication, we were intentional in terms of making sure that the students themselves were able to make. And so we created a schedule of events in which we shared that information with the families. So that way, sorry, with the students, excuse me, so that way they were able to see and hear from each of the various programs so that they were able to learn about all of them, ask any questions that they would need to from their grade 8 teachers, and be able to start to solicit information. And that information was available on our websites as well.
If you have children in grade 4 and 5 and are wondering why, as Q mentioned, that you haven't received communication about the elementary programs yet, it's because that information has not been shared yet. Right now, as you know, currently the secondary program applications are open, and the elementary ones do not open until January. So that information will be shared. We're working on the secondary at the time. So regional learning choice programs empower students by allowing them to pursue their passions and to explore their interests in a variety of areas, including the arts, business, technology, sports, skilled trades, and leadership. The elementary, and when we talk elementary, we're talking kindergarten to grade 8. Our elementary regional learning choice programs, you, for the most part, begin in grade 6. At this time, we have 6 different elementary programs in 12 schools across Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon. The only program that begins in grade 7, there is one, is the arts program in Mississauga. And it is at Queen Elizabeth Senior Public School, which is a school that has grades 7 and 8. So that program is for students who live south of the 401. In secondary, we have 11 different programs in 17 different schools. So these on the screen now are the 6 programs that are available for the elementary regional learning choice programs. The first one, Actively in Motion, which is offered at Royal Orchard Middle School, provides skill training and development, active involvement in athletics, fitness, wellness, leadership, and character development. The focus of the AIM program includes daily physical training and fitness, healthy eating and wellness, school and community involvement, leadership skill development, and the ability to work as part of a team. The arts program, as I mentioned, there are 2, one in Cliffs Middle School, which is, or Senior Public School, which is in Brampton, and the second at Queen Elizabeth Senior. The arts program is an integrated arts model. It consists of music, dance, drama, and visual arts. And their students explore their creativity through an intensive, challenging, and innovative arts program. At Morningstar Middle School, we have a program called Arts and Technology. And the Arts and Technology program offers a focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, what you might refer to as STEAM. This program highlights a science connection and engages in cross-curricular and inquiry-based learning opportunities that are grounded in the Ontario curriculum. Students solve problems that require thinking across disciplines through creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. And all of the regional learning choice programs are based in the Ontario curriculum. The International Business and Technology program, which takes place, which is offered at Alan A. Martin, Lisgar Middle School, and Williams Parkway Senior Public School, also uses the Ontario curriculum and engages the modern learner through a global lens using project-based cross-curricular inquiry-driven learning that is enhanced by technology. Students learn about a variety of business models and incorporate these models into project-based entrepreneurial learning challenges. The International Baccalaureate Middle Years program is offered at 2 of our schools. And really quite exciting this year is the fact that both of them are now officially recognized as an IB World School for the Middle Years program. Until this year, For the last 5 years, Bristol Road has been in the process of getting that accreditation, and actually it just happened last week that they finally got it, and they can hang the sign proudly on their building. The International Baccalaureate Middle Years Program provides a challenging framework that encourages students to make practical connections between their studies and the real world. The program helps students learn through inquiry-based lessons within a global perspective and context, while developing the skills and competencies of the modern learner. And our last program is the SciTech program, which is offered in all 3 of our cities at Centennial Senior, Maxville, and Tompkin Road. The SciTech program features a focus on mathematics, science, and technology grounded in the Ontario curriculum. Again, inquiry-based learning demonstrates how science, technology, and math relate to us in everyday life. The program integrates a hands-on, minds-on philosophy and provides students with an interactive approach to learning. Now we'll have a look at the secondary programs that are available.
So for the secondary programs, there's quite a few, and I'm going to take my time to go through each of them. So we're going to start with the AP program. So the Advanced Placement or AP program is offered at the Central Peel Secondary School and John Fraser Secondary School. And the program is a university readiness program in which students will fulfill the requirements of the Ontario curriculum while experiencing additional enrichment to prepare them for the senior level AP courses. The program is designed by a U.S. education association called the College Board, and which is catered for highly motivated and academically inclined students who have a strong foundation in fundamental numeracy and literacy knowledge and skills. Students taking AP courses have the opportunity to learn first-year university material while still in high school. AP is a global program, and AP courses are recognized by many universities throughout North America and beyond. The arts program, which is offered at Cawthra Park Secondary School and Mayfield Secondary School, is a regional program that provides a comprehensive education in the arts while learning the Ontario curriculum. There are 4 areas of arts programming available: dance, drama, music, which includes instrumental or vocal, or visual arts. Students must audition to be accepted into the program. And for incoming grade 9 students living south of the 401, the arts program is the one that you attend at Cawthra Park. And if you are north of the 401, then you attend the program located at Mayfield Secondary School. And for those who are wondering, if you haven't done so already, you will notice that in terms of the audition portion, you are able to videotape and submit your application. They are looking at different ways, given our challenges around COVID, in terms of making that submission. Graphic and Design Management is offered at TL Kennedy Secondary School, and this program focuses on many pathways related to design, such as graphic, fashion, architecture, video game design and animation, interior, urban, industrial design, and engineering and packaging design. GDM, as it's referred to, Graphic Design Management, the GDM students will gain valuable experience in all aspects of the design industry. They will pursue specific qualifications required to pursue various fields of study beyond high school. In grade 11, students will also have the opportunity to acquire the Specialist High Skills major in business or information and communication technology. And the Specialist High Skills major refers to another program that is through the ministry and is offered at a variety of schools. And these programs are a selection of courses that are bundled together that again allow for a very catered and specialized experience. And so the students here are able to, once they're in this program, also benefit by taking those bundled courses as well. The International Baccalaureate or IB program is offered at 4 schools. We have it at Arundel Secondary School, Harold M. Brathwaite Secondary School, Glen Forest, and Turner Fenton Secondary Schools. The IB is an academically rigorous program leading to expanded opportunities for admission into highly sought after programs at university. The IB diploma program is accessed through the middle years program that Kathy had referenced previously, and in International Baccalaureate MYP IB at Glen Forest and Turner Fenton. The MYP IB uses the Ontario curriculum in a challenging framework that encourages students to make practical connections between their studies and the real world. Students access the IB Diploma Program at Harold Brathwaite and at Arundel through a pre-IB program using Ontario curriculum to develop well-rounded students who are prepared to respond to challenges and apply what they learn in a real-world, complex, and unpredictable situations. Next, we have the International Business Technology Program, or IBT for short, and it's offered at Meadowvale, North Park, and TL Kennedy secondary schools. This program specializes in is a regional program that focuses on business and technology through the lens of the Ontario curriculum. The program engages the modern learner with a global focus using project-based, cross-curricular, inquiry-driven learning that is enhanced by technology. Students focusing on business learn how to incorporate a variety of business models into project-based entrepreneurial learning challenges. Similarly, students focusing on technology learn skills required to find success in robotics, STEM, and other new and emerging technologies. Throughout the program, students will further develop the 21st century competencies, critical thinking and problem solving, learning to learn, and entrepreneurship, innovation and creativity, collaboration, communication, and global citizenship. Next, we have the International Executive Leadership Academy program, which is offered at TL Kennedy. And again, this program is one that builds leaders for tomorrow. The program provides opportunities for students to take part in local, national, and global projects and complete industry-recognized certifications connected to social justice initiatives. Students will participate in the prestigious and internationally recognized Duke of Edinburgh Award to further develop their leadership skills. We also offer the Regional Skilled Trades Program, and this is available at West Credit Secondary School and Judith Nyman Secondary School. This program is designed for experiential learners and leads to apprenticeship pathways and opportunities in high-demand job areas. Core subjects are offered to the applied level and provide students opportunities to take courses that specialize in construction technology in the range of areas of electrical, plumbing, framing, etc., transportation technology, which is auto body, auto service, etc., hospitality, which is chef training, baking, etc., and personal services such as hairstyling, aesthetics. And in addition, the following pathways are also available at West Credit, which are childcare practitioner, green industries, which include horticulture and landscaping, and manufacturing technology, which includes welding, machining, and fabrication. The next program that I'm going to mention is the Regional Sports Program, which is offered at Applewood Heights Secondary School. This program is an inclusive athletic-focused learning opportunity for students, and it provides an environment that supports diversity in education through a commitment to healthy, active living and provides a variety of leadership and healthy lifestyle opportunities for all students. Regional sports focus on delivering a quality physical education program that increases students' interest and active involvement in physical literacy, fitness, and leadership. These opportunities will create and promote the development of healthy, active living and leadership skills that can be utilized within the school and greater community. Next, we have the Sci-Tech program, which is offered at Chinguacousy Secondary School and Port Credit Secondary School. The Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, or STEM program, integrates a hands-on, minds-on philosophy and provides students with an interactive approach to learning the Ontario Secondary School curriculum. Sci-Tech continues to be a dynamic and evolving program, though the ongoing dialogue with post-secondary educational programs and industry partners reflects our ever-changing world. To promote enriching opportunities, students will be required to use industry-standard technology, engage in dialogue with guest speakers, participate in excursions, competitions, and clubs tailored to create unique STEM experiences. The next program we have is the Strings program. This program is offered through Central Peel Secondary School and Port Credit Secondary School. This program provides students from beginner to highly advanced the opportunity to study a string instrument while in high school. As part of the Peel Regional Strings program, students will collaborate with other instrumentalists, creating an orchestral experience unique in the Peel region. Research has shown that studying music improves academic ability, self-discipline, motivation, and self-confidence. The Strings program provides wonderful opportunities for students to develop critical thinking and creative processing skills, which are important skills in our 21st century. And the last program to highlight tonight is the Transportation Engineering and Technology program, which is offered through Bramalea Secondary School. This program offers students the opportunity to learn in a variety of areas that include land, marine, and aerospace within the transportation industry. Students in the program will complete all requirements of the Ontario Secondary School Diploma that are required to follow all the post-secondary pathways, including university, college, apprenticeship, and the workplace. The program aligns with many industry and educational partnerships to prepare students for entry into post-secondary programs or a career in the transportation industry upon graduation.
Before you move forward, there's some questions in the chat. I'm not sure if we're going to answer them now or if we'd like to answer them at the end of the.
We have a Q&A that's built in at the end of the program, and right now I can't see anything. My apologies, because I'm presenting. But we do have an opportunity for question and answer at the end. So I think if people can hold on to the questions for now, and then at the end, I'm happy to be able to field all of the questions that have come in.
Great, thank you.
Now, we've only provided you a cursory overview of the programs. I would like to suggest that if you're interested in one or two in particular, that you go to the board website or the school website and look at the presentations that were created by the schools for their programs. So if you can go to the Peel board website itself, and each of the programs, the secondary at this time, are listed there with details and video clips and PowerPoint presentations that go into much greater detail than Q and I have gone into this evening. So at this time, you are very aware that the secondary applications are now open, and they actually have been open since last week, since November 9th, and they will be closed on November 23rd, which is this coming Monday at 3 p.m. So you have between now and Monday at 3 o'clock, if your child is interested in any of the programs, to apply. And I'm going to suggest, and I probably will repeat myself, but I'm going to suggest that you do not wait till Monday to complete your application, because should you run into any technical issues, if you do it and have it completed on the weekend, you still have Monday to call the board and get support with those technical concerns. The applications for the elementary programs, that's for students who are currently in grade 5 and grade 6 for the arts program south of the 401, opens in January, on January 25th, and will remain open until February the 8th. Generally, students will apply to the school within their boundary area, but as we mentioned, there are some programs that only occur at one location. If the program is only at one location, we've listed those 6 programs there. The first 2 are the grade 6, the elementary programs, and the last 4 are the secondary programs. Then they are open to all students from across the board, no matter what city they're in, whether it's in Caledon, Brampton, or Mississauga. What we'd like to do now is take you on a little tour of the board website to help you find out how do you go about finding more information, and more importantly, how do I go about applying for these programs if I'm interested. So I'm going to say that applying for the secondary programs and for the elementary, student interest is paramount. You want your child to want to be involved in these programs. So you'll notice that this is the www.peelschools.org. It's a place to go for everything that you're looking for that has to do with the board. On the first column, where the arrow's pointing, is a green box. And that green box has lots of information. So I know currently if you're trying to register your child for school, there's a link right there. There's a link there also for French Immersion. And I'll mention French Immersion now because that's another program that if you have a child in year 2 kindergarten and you're interested in French Immersion for grade 1, this is where you can go to get that additional information. Or also if you're looking for extended French in grade 7. But in this green box is also the one that I want to point out called regional programs. And so if you go to you click on the box and on the link that says regional programs, it takes you to this page. And here you have at the top where the arrows are, the first one gives you an overview of all things regional learning choice programs wise. And the second box focuses on the elementary regional learning choice programs. And the third one, or the second grade box, looks at secondary regional learning choice programs. So if by clicking that, you get to a place where you'll be able to apply, but also where you'll be able to get more information on the programs. So once you've clicked secondary, you get to this box. And if you scroll down, there are dates on it, and there's other information on the programs. But right where the arrow is pointing, it says, click here to apply for the secondary regional learning choice programs. The next thing you need to do is to create an account. And you do that by clicking on the first line on this box here. And what you need to do is put in an email address and create a password. It's important that you remember your password because you will need to use it more than once. So I would suggest writing it down somewhere and keeping it safe. Knowing too, please, that your password is case sensitive. Finally, you move to the next screen once you've created your username and password, where you fill out some information here with addresses and phone numbers and things. And from this point forward, you need to follow all of the prompts as you continue through the many pages of the application. It's important to complete all of the sections, and there will be spots in many of the secondary programs where the student needs to write a written response as part of the application process. Again, this is open until Monday, but I am going to suggest that you not wait until Monday. If you're interested, I would make it a family project for the weekend and have Monday as a backup just in case there are technical issues.
One other thing to keep in mind in terms of that written response, you are able to make your way through. You do not have to complete it all at once. So if you get part way and you've completed some of the information and your child for their written response is not quite ready at that time, you can still start the process and then you can come back in and they can then submit that written component once they are ready and have that entered into it at a later point. Again, make sure it's prior to the deadline, and as Kathy is suggesting, that it's done over the course of the weekend, so that way if there are any challenges, you have Monday as the day to be able to have any support available to you through the board.
So as part of the application process, there is a non-refundable $40 application fee for all programs, with the exception of the Transportation, Engineering, and Technology program. As well, most of the programs have a fee of $200. There are 4 exceptions. Advanced placement fee for the AP courses is $250. As is the International Baccalaureate program. The Regional Skill Trades and the Transportation, Engineering, and Technology, there are no program fees for those 2 programs. It's important to note that students will not be excluded from Regional Learning Choice Program opportunities for financial reasons.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name.
Financial assistance is available for students and families who require it. For example, if the $40 application fee is a barrier, it can be waived. That would happen if you required the application fee to be waived. If you talked to the principal at your child's current school, that could occur for you. The program fee, which is considerable for the programs at $200 or $250, different plans can be made. So for some families, for example, an installment plan might help them. Rather than having to pay the $200 or the $250 up front, you could have a plan in place. There's other supports, or perhaps the fee could be reduced. And there's other supports as required too. So for example, if the transportation to the school where the Regional Learning Choice Program is considerable, then perhaps bus tickets or a bus pass could be provided. But again, when those decisions would be made in consultation with the principal at the school where the Regional Learning Choice Program is. And that would occur after your child has been offered and accepted a spot in the program.
Something that is new that we've implemented for this year is the self-identification process. And this is part of the board's commitment to equity and inclusion and to address the significant disproportionalities in enrollment and equitable representation of African, Black, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis students. So the RLCP program application form now includes a new self-identification section that families, students are able to select as part of their application process. Now, by selecting this, once you self-identify, if you so choose, this is not an automatic acceptance. That what it means is that you've identified and the need to meet the criteria for admission is still there. And so for students who self-identify and meet the criteria for admission, they will be accepted into the program without participating in the random selection process. Just so that way everybody is aware, due to the volume of applicants that we have for all of our various regional learning choices programs, prior to this year, all students were automatically entered into a random selection process. This random selection process, once the students met the criteria, once they met the threshold, they were then entered in, and then it was through that process that would determine whether or not they would gain entry into the program of their choice. This year, those students who self-identify as listed in terms of being either African, Black, First Nations, Inuit, Métis, once they have identified in the process and they meet the criteria, they will not need to participate in that random selection process. And so this is something that is new and is something that we're very proud of in terms of how we are looking to address, again, those historic significant disproportionalities that have been in place and how we continue to revise our programs to meet the needs of our community. So that is it that we have in terms of our formal presentation, in terms of information that we have to share. As I understand, there are a number of questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I'm not able to see anything at this point. And Kathy and I are more than happy to answer and field any questions that have come in through the chat or that people raise at this time.
So Q and Kathy, and I hope I'm not interrupting anyone who has been tracking the questions. I've been tracking the questions in the chat with the assistance of our communications team, and I'm going to begin with question number 1. Could you further explain the difference between the IB and the IBT programs? Could you provide a specific example of how these programs differ in their projects, areas of focus on the curriculum?
Excellent question. And I'm going to just put a caveat out there in terms of all of these questions. My strong suggestion is that between, and it's not a lot of time, but between today, tomorrow rather, Thursday and Friday, please reach out to the schools themselves because they will be able to give you the specifics in terms of what it is that they do in the classroom with their students at their specific location. So I will be able to answer the question, but the nitty-gritty, neither Kathy or myself are going to be able to answer to the depth that the administrative teams at the schools would be able to because it is their programs that they run. Now, with that being said, the International Baccalaureate or the IB program is one that has a curriculum that is driven by an outside organization. All the other programs, if you remember hearing through the various synopses that we've given for the programs, those programs are based on the Ontario curriculum. The IB is one that has its own curriculum, if you will, that is driven by an outside body, an international body. And we as a board have subscribed to be able to administer their programming. And so the standards, the assessments, the testing, all of that is something that is done through the International Baccalaureate group. They're the ones who set that standard. They're the ones who set the test. They're the ones who set all of that criteria. The IBT program, the International Business and Technology Program, is a localized program for us in which we have designed that within our board to enhance programming for those students who have expressed interest in the business and the technology field. And so we still deliver that program based on the Ontario curriculum, and we tailor the experience for those students' interests based on that. The differences in terms of what you would see would be considerable in the sense that the international business and the international technology components are ones that have an international focus, but are still based on Ontario curriculum and Ontario criteria, whereas the International Baccalaureate program is one that has a focus of a much more wider worldwide perspective, if you will, because it is a standard that is in place. So that way, regardless of where you are in the world, 1+1, 2+2 is based on their delivery of that program in that manner.
So the key to that one question is be sure to call into the school where the program is being run to get the details.
Right.
Yes, so
And also to,
they would be able to answer that.
yes, I was gonna say, and also to look at the website where the schools have made presentations. They will provide additional information for you, and that's available on both on their school website as well as the board website.
Question 2. Can you please explain whether these programs are mandatory to join, and how will it help an individual in high school in their future studies?
Do you want to take that one, Kathy, or would you like me to
Well,
take it?
I'm going to start with Q, and then I'll hand it over to you when it gets to the secondary piece. But well, no, the programs are definitely not mandatory. They're programs that are offered to try to empower students to find their passions, to find things that they're interested in. My experience has been, I think, the research tells us that as learners, we are more engaged, we care more about what we're doing when we care about what we're learning. And so this provides students with an opportunity to really find the areas that excite them. In terms of moving into secondary school.
So in terms of, yep, thank you. Great handoff. In terms of secondary school, what you are looking at, again, the students are, depending on the program. So the International Baccalaureate program, I'm going to say, is the exception to everything else, because again, that curriculum, what they need to do is separate from the Ontario curriculum. With the other programs that we offer, the regional learning choice programs that we offer, again, it's not mandatory. And so it is, all of our programs are based on the Ontario curriculum. But to Kathy's point, it's thinking of it as a focusing based on areas of interest. And those focused areas of interest are ones in which the students get to go deeper in those areas that they really love. They are pushed, they are challenged in those areas that they really love. And so by virtue of that, that is where the students are going to have that higher level of engagement, because that is something that they're interested in, they can pursue. Now, if they're not able to get into these programs, by no means does that mean that they're not going to be able to continue to explore areas of interest and not going to be able to do things that they like. They still are able to receive, and they will graduate with an Ontario high school secondary diploma, and they will still be able to use that, which is the vast majority of our students. They will still be able to use that to be able to apply to post-secondary destinations for whichever university and or college, for whichever program they wish to pursue. But the nature of our regional learning choices programs, again, is a focused area of interest, and that intentionality and that intensity associated with pursuing those particular subject areas.
Thank you. Do students need to provide their own instrument for the strings program? And how is this program different than the arts, in brackets, music program?
Excellent question. So first part, no, they do not need to provide their own stringed instrument. The regional program at Central Peel, they have those instruments, which is phenomenal. And if you ever have a chance, again, go to the website, you'll have a chance to be able to see and learn more about the programs there. It's a phenomenal program. But no, there is no requirement for the students to provide their own instrument. By virtue of being accepted and entry into this program, that would be provided for them. The difference with that, between that and the other regional arts programs, is the focus at Central Peel on that program is just on the strings. Whereas in those other programs, as was mentioned, they can focus on, depending on what other skills they bring to the table, may it be in the area of dance, may it be in the area of visual arts, drama, other instruments, and or vocal music. So if students have a deep interest and or have experience in those areas and which to go further, those regional art programs will be ones that they should explore and should be able to apply to. But the specific area of a stringed instrument, their strings program would be one in which the one at Central Peel would be the best one that would cater to students who are exploring that area.
Okay, so Q and Kathy, do you have to audition in person?
That's a great question. And the answer is different now than it would have been last year. Before pre-COVID, it would have been a face-to-face in-person audition. This year, the schools are looking at ways to do it in different ways, and some of that includes virtually.
And can you tell us about how the selection process works for elementary students?
Yes. So can I get a bit more detail? What do you mean the selection process? I'll start. I'll tell you what I know and then see if I've answered the question.
Thanks.
So when we begin in elementary, when we're looking at the going into the grade 6 programs, the first thing that happens, and this part is actually similar to the secondary, is a review of report cards. So we look at, for the grade 6 programs, we look at the grade 4 final report card, the one that would have come in June, as well as the current year, the grade 5 progress report. And also we will look at the term 1 grade 5 report. That data from those reports is used as a starting point. Then the programs also include a participation component. Last year, unfortunately, due to the situation we were in at the time, the participation component was canceled. This year, we are going to be having conversations on what that might look like. Obviously, it won't be what it has been in the past, where it would have been face-to-face and several children in the same room at the same time working together. We'll have a conversation as to what that might look like and if it's possible to do it in a social, physically distanced and safe way. But that is the beginning. So we begin with the report cards, then we include the participation component. And then from that, there is a criteria that each program sets. And it's the same criteria for the program, no matter which location it's at. And then the random selection process is used.
Okay, so thanks for that. And I have a series of questions here that have come up that are related to submitting the application form. So how about if I begin with, as long as it's before the deadline, can we still edit our essay response after we submit it?
Yes, you can.
Sorry, Q.
Nope, we're saying the same thing. Yes, the answer is yes. So as long as it's before 3 p.m. on Monday, by all means, you're able to go in and you're able to make whatever edits, whatever changes you wish to do.
How many programs can be applied for?
There is no limit on the number.
So that is related also to what is the maximum amount of regional learning programs and Explore High School Skills program that we can apply for. So that's been addressed. What types of questions will be asked when applying for the IBT program? Seems to be some interest in that one.
Yeah, so that's a great one. And I on that one, I'm going to have, unless Q has a great answer, I'm going to have to defer to the school. And again, I'm going to say, have a look at the videos and the presentations that the schools did for the IBT program. They will provide you a lot more of those details.
Correct. And
Right, so
absolutely, to Kathy's point, yes, I don't have that memorized. I don't have that information, but the schools, they would be the best source for that information.
okay. I have applied again for the IBT program on November the 11th. I also paid my fee. Will I hear back in February, or will there be a prior communication?
Excellent question. So there will be prior communication. So given the challenge that we've been having in terms of COVID and everything of that nature, we are still communicating as we normally would in years past. And so once 3 p.m. deadline is hit, all of the students are then going to be, again, evaluated. The information is going to be taken a look at, and offers are going to be made. So offers will be made, and so families will be, students specifically will be made aware of whether or not they were able to make it into the program. So that information will be happening, and that will happen before we break for the winter holidays. So that information will be coming out before December 18th.
So are there details about, at the school level again, on the subjects that will be studied, for example, with the advanced placement program?
Yes, at this, I'm going to go defer back to the school to get the specifics on the specific subjects. But I think what I will say to that in general is that with program, you are still studying the Ontario curriculum. I would say that what you're,
Q, just one moment, Q, I'm sorry. If I could just ask participants if they would kindly mute their microphones. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Q.
thank you for that. As I was saying, so with these programs, what you're looking at is based on the Ontario curriculum. So their students aren't learning something different. Again, IB, the International Baccalaureate being the exception, AP, you are still focusing on the Ontario curriculum. The difference has to do with the depth of knowledge and the volume of information that you're going to be dealing with as compared to those who are outside of the program. But I would, again, defer back to the school to get the specifics in terms of how it is that they implement whatever the various ways that they do it at the school. They would be able to answer that more specifically.
This is a question about program fees. Are the fees of 200 or 250 a one-time monthly or annual fee?
Yes, they are an annual fee. One time annual, yeah.
For the online application, if I apply for more than one, can I submit one after another? I think we've answered that question. You can apply for as many programs to which you have interest.
Correct.
Let's see. And a question around criteria that the student needs to meet. I guess that again is dependent on the program, and that information can be found out at the school that offers the program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. May a student change the program, or will they have to stay in that program until graduation?
That's a great question. So, and I'll start Q. And
Sure.
so, okay. So yes, once if you decide to go into the program, you can leave the program, but you can't go flip between programs. Okay, so if you go into the SciTech program and then determine it's not for you, you would return to your home school, secondary school, or your home school, elementary school, but you wouldn't be able to go into a different regional learning choice program.
Okay, a question on, one moment here. What is the difference between the gifted program and the regional learning choice programs? Can students do both?
Excellent question. So I'll start, Kathy, and you can fill in if I missed anything that way. So two things to understand in terms of the Regional Learning Choices program. That is a program, these programs are a series of programs in terms of looking at the nature of how programs, course material, subject material is being delivered. And so you're looking at the nature of how the math, the arts, the science, the business, how those are being delivered and how they're being tailored to a wide group of students. When you're talking about a gifted designation, you are looking at a student who has gone through a process to receive that designation individually. And so they've gone through, again, that process, irrespective of whichever program they want to pursue. This is just about how they of themselves are perceived and deemed as a learner. And so the individual, there's a lot of individualization that now takes place for that particular student. Those students who have that designation, they would have an individual education plan, an IEP. So that way, all of their teachers, regardless of which course they are studying, would be obliged to make sure that they provide the necessary accommodations as per their individual education plan or their IEP to meet that student's individual needs. So they may, by virtue of that, provide enrichment and enhancement as compared to what their peers are receiving. But the nature of our regional learning choices programs are ones in which it is done based on the design of a program that all of the students who participate in are going to experience, as compared to a gifted designation, which a student has gone through an individualized process to receive that designation. And even if they are not in that regional learning choices program, they would still receive the special accommodations that are unique and necessary for them to survive and thrive within their education, within any course, may it be inside or outside the RLCP, the regional learning choices programs. Kathy, feel free to jump in.
No,
or fill in.
that was a comprehensive answer, Q. Thank you.
So if I could just jump in here, this is Associate Director Graywall, just to add, those students who are gifted and they're entering secondary school, beginning this year, we have absolutely allowed students to keep their gifted identification. So they could be in a regional learning choice program and be gifted. And there still is an expectation that there will be an individual education plan for those students. So I just want to be clear around that because that is a legal requirement that we must fulfill. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline.
And so relatedly, this question asks, what role will referrals by support teachers play in this process?
And really, they don't play a part. They're not part of the criteria that's used to determine whether or not students meet. It's not part of the criteria.
Okay,
so it's lovely.
Outside of the academic programs, how big of a factor are the report card marks for the other programs? Can a student not be strong academically, but excel in arts or sports and still get into their program of choice?
And that's another wonderful question that, and I would say that's definitely a conversation that each program has, determining what the types of students they're looking for. And often it's not about the marks. There's other factors that are taken into consideration. This year, however, given the COVID time, there is a new way of looking at the reports. And I know somebody else had a question regarding how are they looked at, is it subjective or objectively? And truly, it's going to be a qualitative process that's used to determine, to look at the report cards. But one of the things is that through this process, students' marks are being reviewed, but we're looking at their top marks, not particular to any specific subject. So if your top marks happen to be in visual arts and phys ed and English and history, those are the marks that will be used when looking at the formula. Anything that you could add there, Q, that I may have missed?
No, I think you nailed it. I'll just reiterate, just to simply say, so we are looking at given the fact that, again, we are fully aware that the challenges that COVID has placed on students, but through no fault of their own. So in recognizing this, the emphasis is not being placed solely on the marks. We are fully aware that, again, we are looking at the other areas that students were able to contribute to their learning, and we're using all of that information to make an informed decision. With that being said, one of the things that I would also strongly recommend would be for families, and this is something that Kathy had mentioned beforehand, make sure you do take a look at the nature of the programs that you are applying to. Make sure you have that honest conversation with your child in terms of whether or not this is the program for them, and not having conversations around, oh, well, my friend is doing this, so I'm going to do it too. Because the rigor that is required to be able to not just survive, but thrive in these programs is going to come down to how much the student is willing and engaged to do what is being asked of them. And so we are looking at well-rounded students. We are looking at not just the marks, but in terms of what you're applying to, we want to make sure that you are making an informed decision, having that honest conversation with your child, so that way they are able to present their best self, as well as once accepted into the program to thrive within that program, meeting the criteria necessary each step of the way.
And that's why the learning skills as well are very important, or as important really as the marks in terms of on the report card and on the progress report. We have not negated the value of the learning skills.
So that answer might be helpful for this question that asks how to decide which program is better for your child to start from grade 6 when considering, for example, IB or science tech. Will the teacher provide some guidance on that in grade 5? How can we know how to choose?
And I would say that is a great question to ask your child's current teacher. Do you see, you are your child's first teacher, so you know your children well. But asking the teachers, the current teacher, last year's teacher, did you see that my child really excelled in an area or thrived in an area or was excited in certain subject areas? That would be the first place to start. Because I think with whatever program it is, and I know we're repeating ourselves here, but it really matters that it's what your child wants. And then trying to decide which one is better. I'm going to mention again that your children we asked that all grade 8 students saw all of the presentations by all of the programs, so they're aware of them all. And asking them what jumped out for you, and then having that conversation with your child. If they said something, you're like, wow, you're really interested in the sports one. I can't get you away from the screen. Tell me more about that. And having that conversation with your child. But definitely, I wouldn't hesitate to reach out to the current teacher and ask for their input as well.
Okay, then, so Kathy and Q, this is the question, will a French immersion student benefit from the regional programs, or is it better to remain in the French immersion program?
That's another personal choice.
Yes, I'm going to say, based on what Kathy just shared in terms of making sure that you have those honest conversations with your child, there is no better by virtue of the nature of the programs. It's about what is best for your child. And the only way to be able to arrive at that understanding and have that answer is through conversation with your child. Have those conversations to, again, get them to talk to you and share with you their excitement or lack thereof. Because the other piece may be that there may be a child who may be doing well in a particular area, but that doing well does not necessarily mean that they have an affinity to do that at the level of intensity that would be required to be part of these programs. So this is the perfect time to have those honest conversations, but there is no one is better than the other situation between French immersion versus, the regional learning choices programs. It really is about having an honest and open conversation with your child based on their areas of interest.
I am just scrolling to I would like to get more details regarding the science tech. Pardon my pronunciation here, Chingowski School website does not have much information regarding the infrastructure and facility students will get access to once they are selected into the program. How do I get more information?
So I would say, as we've said, the best thing to do would be to contact the school directly, and they'll be able to provide you with that information. I can give you, because I'm familiar with the building, and it's for Chinguzi Secondary School. For that, I can speak to that particular building and that particular site. They have a phenomenal infrastructure. They have relative to the school, a newly built addition that houses a lot of wonderful equipment, a lot of wonderful rooms that are designed and catered for that experience, for students to be able to work in an environment that is best suited to what it is that's being delivered and focused on in the curriculum. So as far as the infrastructure is concerned, as far as the environment is concerned, it is a wonderful place for learning. However, to give you the specifics to say they have this machine versus that machine, they do this versus that, again, the school will be the best place to be able to get that information.
Another question that's come up, and we're almost at the end of all of them, is what impact does participating in any one of the regional learning choice programs have on admissions to post-secondary institutions?
Excellent question. So there are two programs specifically that have a direct impact given the nature of the design of the programs, as was mentioned before. The first one I'll refer to is the IB program, so the International Baccalaureate program. That program, once again, because the curriculum is designed outside of Ontario, and Peel is one of the school boards that's allowed to administer that program, they have connections to universities already, such that by virtue of graduating through that program, many universities recognize the courses that students may have studied as being on par with the first year program at their particular university. And so it's not carte blanche where automatically all universities see it. It really is program specific based on the courses that the students take, and that's through IB. The second program is AP, the Advanced Placement. And again, by its nature, by design, it too is designed so that way, based on the level of rigor that the students are engaged with, by the time the students finish the AP program in grade 12, even though it is based on the Ontario curriculum, the level of foundation that they've engaged in terms of literacy and numeracy, many post-secondary destinations recognize that and give standing for their first year programs. That is not something that we as a board determine. That is not something that we decide. It is based on each post-secondary destination to make that decision for themselves based on how the students fare and recognizing how the student has done in terms of their demonstration within that particular course and the program as a whole. But those are the two programs that have direct, explicit connections to post-secondary universities that they often recognize. With that being said, all of our programs, all of our regional learning choice programs offer students a wonderful opportunity and platform for them to showcase their skills when they are applying to any post-secondary destination. And so based on the specific program that they are applying to, based on the program requirements, the admission requirements, the opportunity to showcase the skills that the students have learned and earned over the number of years that they've been in the program is always there. It may not be as explicit as I just mentioned for AP and the IB programs, but that is something that the students will always be able to draw upon to be able to say, hey, take a look at me. I was able to do ABC 1, 2, 3 through this particular program, and that can set me apart from my peers in terms of why you should take a look at me.
So Kathy and Q, sometimes when we enroll in these programs, we have a bit of a false start. And one of the questions asked is, if I get into a program and the student underperforms in the first year, what hope is there? What might they do?
That's a good question. Do you want me to start, Kathy, or would you like to take this one?
Well, yeah, I'm just, they have, I would say that the supports will be put in place to help students become more and more successful.
Right.
And so, and I'm going to reflect back, and perhaps others can do the same thing. I know that my first year of university was not my best year of university. There are so many new things that you're getting used to. And I would suggest with new programs, that's often the case. When we come into a new program, we're coming into a new school, working with new peers. There's lots of new learning to do. And so all along in that first year and going forward in every year, the teacher will work to ensure that your child is as successful as possible.
Exactly. And please, we scaffold students for success. This is not a situation in which you have now entered into the program and you're now going to fend for yourself. On the contrary, we want students to succeed. We want students to thrive. We don't just want it to be a matter of survival. And so by virtue of that, all of our programs, no matter whichever one the child may enter, is designed. The teachers have the student's best interest at heart. So that way they are going to make sure that although they have high expectations for these students, they also have high levels of support to ensure that the students are able to meet what is being and they're supported and surrounded with the necessary structures to see them succeed. And if they find, and this is one other piece that we often, inside and outside the programs, one of the pieces that we advocate students do, and that is self-advocacy, where if the student realizes, you know what, things aren't going well for me, talk to your teachers. That's the first thing that we always recommend that students do. Talk to your teachers, let them know that, you know what, I'm having difficulty here. You said this and it didn't quite resonate. I don't quite understand. Have that conversation. And we know that's hard, especially if you're coming into high school. It might be a bit daunting. And again, you're acclimatizing and becoming used to things, but your teachers are the first line of question that you should ask, and of inquiry, in terms of you now asking and trying to figure things out. And they're also there to support you once they've given you the answer, to ensure that, again, the student, your child, has been able to digest and apply what was given to them in terms of the supports and structures necessary for them to succeed.
I applied at Science Tech, Sci-Tech, but there was no option for students to write a paragraph. Is that normal?
Yes, it is. So not all programs have the same criteria. So there are some programs which do have a written component. There are other programs that have an audition component, and there are programs with which they do not have either of those components. So the information that you received in your application is the information you are to receive, but it's not going to be the same across. If you were applying to more than one, it's not going to be the same for all of them. Each program has specific requirements that we are asking for each student, each applicant to complete, but it's not universal across all.
Okay, and I don't know if this might be another one of those questions where, again, we go to the school where the program's offered. Here's the question. Are there any culturally responsive music and dance programs?
And that's, I would offer that it would be the Peel District School Board's expectation that all of our music and dance programs were culturally responsive.
But to give the specifics about what is being offered in terms of a particular repertoire, again, the schools themselves would be the best ones to ask those questions to.
And are Explore High Skills programs valued differently than the regional learning choice programs?
So in terms of the key word, they're being valued. We value all of our programs. And again, it's not about valuing differently, but more so getting back to what we've been saying in terms of recognizing what are your child's wants and needs in terms of helping them feel engaged and helping them thrive. So the Explore High Skills program is a program that is unique to Peel, in which what we've done, and if people remember, I had mentioned beforehand, specialist high skills major program. The Explore High Skills program is a program that is designed at the grade 9 and 10 level for different schools based on the program that's being applied, where those particular subject areas, there's a focus on those areas for students who are interested in going deeper and having a tailored experience in those subject areas that will lead them to the specialist high skills major programs of study in grade 11 and 12. Those programs are valued just as much as our regional learning choice programs. They are different, and that's why you do need to explore what they are and recognize whether or not this is this particular program, whatever it may be, is best suited for my child versus the others that we offer as a school board. But the general way that I would suggest that all parents engage in looking at all of our programs is that they're all valuable. That's why we offer them. But we recognize that not all children are the same. Not all students learn in the same way, and not all students are interested in the same things. And so our goal has always been and continues to be to offer as wide a variety of programming as possible to meet as varied needs as we possibly can to engage students to help them find success.
If we are applying for different programs, do we have to pay the fees for all of them, or just pay the fee one time?
The application fee is intended to be a $40 fee for each program to which you apply.
Will coding be taught at any of the programs?
So, and as an update for people, there is a new math curriculum from elementary, from grades 1 to grade 8. And the new math curriculum actually includes coding as part of the math curriculum. So it's in the algebra strand, and so all students are going to be learning coding in elementary schools.
And the last question that I see here on, one just came up. It says, if I want to apply to a variety of programs, is there a limit to the number to which we may apply? And I think that question was answered before, Kathy and Q. It's wherever the interest lies, you can apply to as many as you care to. Is that correct?
That's
That's
correct,
correct.
Donna.
No limits. Okay. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all the questions that we have for right now. Let's give it a minute. No more coming with the queue. Oh, just one more. What happens if the regional program that you want to apply for is not at your school? That might be very likely, right?
It's more than likely not going to be at your school, given the nature of the geography. So based on what we were going through and we were providing the overview, generally speaking, we've provided schools for all the various programs that we've offered them at either north of the 401 or south of the 401, wherever you reside in Peel. So based on your address at the time of your application, your application will default to the school based on your address, either north of the 401 or south of the 401. The programs are the same, but it's just a geographic location that is changing. With the exception being, and Kathy was speaking to that in one of our slides, with the exception being for those schools with whom, so those programs, excuse me, that are only offered at one school, then regardless of where you are in Peel, if that's the program you're interested in, then that would be where you would need to go to attend. And there are 6 programs. There were 2 in elementary, and I believe there were 4 in secondary, that was the case.
So at this time, as it looks like questions are being answered, just wanted to say a big thank you to Danielle Dowdy, parent rep with the We Rise Together Parent Advisory, and for reaching out to us so that we could be supportive in providing this information center session to our Peel families. You know, at one point, there were 83 attendees on the call, which shows that there was so much interest, and you know, folks kept signing in and dialing into the session throughout. A big thanks to you, Kathy, and to you, Q, for providing the information, fielding all of the questions. Lots of the questions were same, but so many of them were diverse and unique to the interests that we know our Peel students have. I just want to assure all of the attendees that we will be making the recording available. Give us about 48 hours or so and we'll have it uploaded to the Peel website so that you'll be able to review and listen to the materials once again. Thanks everyone for your attendance tonight, and we hope you found the session informative, and thanks especially to the We Rise Together Parent Advisory. Good night.